So I wanted us to talk a little bit more about the United States reaction to the stalemated talks with Iran. I mean, I thought, from their utterances, especially President Trump, that what they would do if the talks failed was to go back in and finish Iran off. That is what President Trump has been, saying since the talks, even while the talks was going on. He released a statement that the US, they really care about the outcome because they were ready to go in and finish the job. And yet the talks, came to nothing yesterday. And I was expecting the US to go back in and, finish the job. But they have done nothing. And in fact, from President Trump's statement after the talks failed, it looks like he is hoping that Iran, will continue talking with them. He doesn't look at all, ready to restart the war and go on. So I'm just wondering what's going on. Now I know that people are saying, these peace talks was just an opportunity for them to restock, and go back in to finish the job. But what are they gonna bomb when they go in this time that they haven't bombed already? Infrastructure, bridges, and power plants. They know what will result from that, because if they touch Iranian infrastructure, Iran is going to destroy infrastructure all across the Gulf region, all across the Middle East. So they understand that if they start that, Iran is going to take it to areas they don't want. Iran is going to destroy the infrastructure all across the Middle East. In fact, and that will lead to the total destruction of the Middle East, Israel included. So they know that. That's why they didn't do it to start with. Do you think, they decided not to do it because they love the Iranians? These people have been killing Iranians with reckless abandon, and you thought if they could do that and get away, they wouldn't do it? They would have done it already. So they are not going to do that. And if you listen to President Trump, he said they don't want to do that. He's pretending they don't want to do it because, they love Iran. But we all know they don't love Iran. They just can't do it because they know if they do it, Iran is going to destroy the whole of the Middle East. And they don't want their friends, Israel, to be destroyed too. So that's why they wouldn't do that. So what else can they do? Nothing. That is why the only plan they have now moving forward is to blockade the Strait of Hormuz, blockade Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. That's the only thing they plan. And I think they are hoping that this will force, the other countries around the world to force Iran to reopen the strait. They're also not going to do a ground invasion, put boots on the ground in Iran, because they understand that would be a suicide mission. Besides, if they could do that, they would have done it before seeking a ceasefire. Anything that they could have gotten away with, they had tried. Anything they didn't do, like ground invasion, like, destroying Iran's infrastructure, bridges, and power plants, know that those are things they can't get away with doing. So they're not going to do them now. They are at their limits. They have lost the war. But, what they're trying to do right now is what they are trying to do in Ukraine against Russia, trying to hang on and linger on and hope that one day Iran will get tired and just give in. But that's not going to happen. They will stick it out. Iran will stick it out. And they will eventually be forced to admit that they have lost. We just have to wait and see how long it takes. These are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.